the language needs to shift, right? And I know you did a fantastic podcast last night, has been released. What's the handle for I've forgotten what that
286 Project.
286 Project, about the language needing to change.
Yep.
And that's clearly, we're in this amazing time at the moment, and you would have seen it from, when you, like you said, you first started, and we've progressed over 20 or 30 years. I feel like we're kind of there, but then I feel like there's a lot of like myths and misnomers going on as well. There's still a bit of he'll be right. There's still a bit of this. You still get parents coming up and asking trainers not to lodge it as a concussion because they want the child to play the next week. So obviously the language needs to change, and what we're talking about needs to change in that regard.
Yeah, massively. I first sort of experienced this in 2015, I think it was, or 2015/16. I don't know if you remember the Mumford incident where Shane Mumford ran through an opponent. I can't remember who the opponent was, and everyone lauded it as the tackle of the
That's right.
century.
Yes.
And so I tweeted out at the time, we should not be celebrating these sort of collisions as, because of our worry around brain injury. And only the week before there was several players, or a couple of weeks before, several players over a few weeks who had to retire due to too many concussions. So I just said, you can't have your cake and eat it too here. And I was absolutely vilified by the mainstream media for the next 3 days. I had to defend myself because they're saying, what are you talking about? You should be able to say these sort of things. It's a completely legal tackle. And I said, yeah, it's a completely legal tackle, but the way that you're presenting this is that you're celebrating brain damage. Hang on a moment.
Yeah.
So from there, it's been around how do we talk about this? And so, you don't see that sort of talk anymore in the commentary. They kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, heavy hit. He's going to be checked out, make sure that his brain is okay. He's going to have the head injury assessment. They've really, I think they've really changed it. I'm hoping that, that initial incident has led to where we are now, but also, downplaying of it as a head knock, humorising the injury still needs to change, making, people thinking that it's fine, I'll be fine, there's nothing wrong with it, and when you sort of frame it as a brain injury, people then start to take it far more seriously. And that's what we have to do.
Gary Lyon came out pretty loudly this year, I noticed, and said exactly that. Let's call it what it is.
Yes.
Brain injury, not a head knock. And I feel like more of those voices need to be heard more consistently. That does, clearly there is a change coming. Perhaps not quick enough.
We've got one today. So again, sounds like I'm stalking Al on social media. Obviously there was a post today. Was it in the Australian, or who was that said the head impact, and you were like, finally?
ABC had used the term head knock, and I sort of obviously went off, as I do. And then I also noticed that the Guardian had used head impact, and I know Jack Snape, from the Guardian, and has talked to him a lot around the language that we use. So, a number of people in the media follow me on socials, so it's kind of good to kind of, keep pushing that and reminding people around how we present this, because, you can't have a player out for, months or years because of a head knock. That's just not.
It's a big part of what this podcast is about, right? Awareness and education is what needs to change.
And culture change too, I think. So, we've got to get beyond just saying education, because what we find is that athletes, and again, this is not a blame on this, because athletes want to play, right? And they want to show how tough they are. But it can be weaponized. So education can be actually, what we've found is that it can be weaponized in how they can make sure they can get out of those head injury assessments. They know how to mask because they know what the doctor would, or the health professional is looking for. They know what to say, what not to say. They may try and sandbag the baseline testing. So we've got to change the culture around this, and that is around not downplaying the injury, but calling out for what it is, but it's also looking out for each other on the field that, if someone is hit and they're not getting up that quick, a teammate should be able to say, hang on a moment, we need some attention here. That sort of stuff. Even opponents, and I'm sort of starting to see a bit of that now too.
I saw it this year.
Opponents that just,
whether it's concerned parents.
Make sure that he or she is okay. So, rather than just sort of running on and going, took them out sort of thing, we're changing that. Yeah.
There was that moment, and I don't know the names like you do. I probably need to watch more sport, but where I think it was the really handsome Broncos player that my daughter thinks is
Reece Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Dead. This is dead.
Yeah.
Reece Walsh went over and when what was the other guy that got hit, and he went and grabbed him and hugged him and was like, "You're all right, mate. You're all right."
Yeah. Yep.
And that was that moment that I was like, I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
This guy's got up, and it was actually a hard watch. He's got up. I think Ben is his name, the Broncos player, and he's got up, and he was clearly
Ben Hunt. Yes,
Ben Hunt clearly stumbling, and it was a really hard thing to watch. And the best thing was to see Reece go over, grab him, and whisper in his ear,
Stop.
"You're okay. Just stop." And that was a moment where you kind of go, maybe the message is. Maybe
Reece has been under a bit of pressure anyway too, because he got done for punching his mate on social media.
Yep.
And he was also in the middle of an issue in Origin 1 where the commentary was around, taking out Reece Walsh.
Yeah.
And using that sort of language. We're going to take him out. We're going to, make sure that he's done. We're going to kill him, sort of thing. And it was quite good because that piece ended up on Media Watch on ABC around the fact that, using that sort of language, aggressive, threatening type language in context of sport, while also saying that we're concerned about brain health.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just it's a thing of the past, isn't it?
It makes me think of duty of care. Right? We think of duty of care as this abstract term that the leagues or the regulators or maybe the club officials. But in that moment, Reece showed that everybody from the club officials down to the coach, down to the players have got a duty of care for their teammates. And you're right, more of that needs to happen.
100%.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And at all levels too. So, it's a cultural change piece